It's live. So a little thing over the side.
Yep.
All right. You gonna do the intro?
You go for it. You're the best at it.
I don't. Nah. What's up, YouTube? We are back for at least today, I guess. This is Get Slammed. We're doing it live. We haven't done a live stream in forever. And it's just going to be me. It's just going to be Sean. We're just going to talk about Money in the Bank. We're going to talk about Jericho winning the IWGP Intercontinental title, Kenny Omega, all that stuff. We're talking about all of it right here, right now. So what do you want to talk about first?
Well, let's just get the New Japan stuff out of the way. What is going on over there? It's insane. You got two Canadians, both from Winnipeg, both winning championship gold in the second most popular wrestling promotion in the world, and Japan. You got Kenny Omega. He is the new IWGP IWGP Heavyweight Champion. Won the title against Kazuchika Okada. God, I butchered that, and I said it right earlier, so I feel mighty ashamed of myself. Kazuchika Okada. There we go. In best 2 out of 3 falls. And that lasted over an hour, and Dave Meltzer rated that match 7 stars.
7?
7 stars.
I thought there was only 5.
Well, he broke that scale last year.
Oh, now there's 10 now?
I don't know.
7?
I guess it's 7 out of 5. I don't know.
I think it's a long time coming. I think they were going to Kenny Omega, you knew that was going to happen eventually. I'm more shocked that Jericho won.
Yeah, that's a really good point because Jericho, he beat Tetsuya Naito, right?
Yeah.
For the IWGP Intercontinental Champion, become the first person to hold both WWE and IWGP Intercontinental Championship gold.
He's technically a 10-time champion now. 10-time Intercontinental champion.
It's insane. But yeah, I am surprised that they gave it to him because I did one think it was going to be a one and done, and 2, I heard he's not going to be defending it for a while. I know he does not want to do any U.S. shows outside of WWE because he said he doesn't want to disrespect Vince, and he kind of figured that was kind of the unwritten rule to not work in the States unless it's WWE. So I don't know when he's going to be defending that next. Or are they going to do what they did with Shinsuke Nakamura and strip him of it eventually, or what?
I think Jericho will defend it. But I didn't expect him to do a Brock. I thought, well, first of all, again, I agree with you. I think everybody, this is why it was such a big deal, such a cool swerve, because I think everybody thought it was going to be the one and done thing. Everybody thought, because I mean, he did the match with Kenny, wasn't it? Kenny Omega,
Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, made that big thing about the U.S. title match, and so I thought it was going to be a similar thing. Good on New Japan and Jericho for throwing a swerve. I don't know how WWE responds to this because I don't think they care, but it's also kind of like, what? Okay, so you'll fight for us in the States, but you'll go somewhere else and be with Japan. I don't understand that whole thing. Now Triple H is saying that WWE is open to a cross promotion with New Japan.
That would be insane. I know they did that, like, I think back in the 80s. They actually had like the WWF Junior Heavyweight Championship, and they did some kind of agreement with them. But I think now more than ever, that would be insane.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, because just the talent that Japan has, and the Bullet Club alone showing up in WWE would be insane. But another fantasy booking thing would be IWGP Intercontinental Champion Chris Jericho comes in and attacks WWE Intercontinental Champion Seth Rollins. I think people would lose their freaking minds.
I think I saw it on Facebook or Twitter or something. Somebody mentioned if they would to do a cross promotion, they were thinking just NXT versus New Japan.
I could see that.
I think that would be more because if that's going to happen, if any sort of deal like that's going to happen, it's going to be Triple H doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Because Triple H is the guy that brings in everybody and he's like the ambassador of doing this stuff. If this were to happen, is Jericho like the new international ambassador of wrestling? Because he has the Young Bucks on. He was on Being Elite. Then he had the Young Bucks on the Jericho cruise. They're going to be on his cruise, and
Impact Wrestling's on that cruise too.
So I don't know what's going to go on. And just recently, Kenny Omega and just did a thing with the New Day. For,
Kenny Omega, I watched that. That was freaking awesome. It was the New Day versus the Elite in Street Fighter, and they took a little page from us and did a habanero challenge at the end of it. That was by far freaking hilarious. I loved it. It was Kenny Omega ultimately ended up winning the Street Fighter. They did a best of 5, or no, first to 5. So they actually had like 9 fights on Street Fighter, and at the end of it, Xavier Woods and the New Day were supposed to all do a habanero, but Xavier's like, no, I'll do all 3. He ends up doing 2, and everybody keeps, cheering him on. And then Kenny grabs the bag. He's like, no, I'm not letting you cheer him for this. And then he starts to eat 1 too. It was insane. It was awesome.
I don't think I see Kenny Omega leaving the Indies yet.
I wouldn't even call it the Indies now. I think it's like New Japan is its own thing. I mean, it's at this point, it's WWE's biggest competitor. I know they're not quite in the States yet, but, they're getting there. Yeah,
but, I mean, they still do stuff with Ring of Honor, so that's why I said Indies, because he still does a bunch of stuff with that. Whatever happened to that storyline with Cody? Did that just had its blow off? And
it's still going on. The Bullet Club is fine, they say, but I don't know. I try to keep up with as much as I can, but life. So
yeah.
I mean, I watched the Chris Jericho versus Tetsuya Naito match for the New Japan Dominion, and wow, Jericho is like the ultimate heel over there. It's incredible.
He really embraces the fact that he can kind of do whatever he wants because he's flipping them off. He's saying the F word. He's just swearing all the time, breaking stuff. It's such a different Jericho in Japan versus Jericho in the States because it's such a different product.
Yep.
Also, I don't know what this whole weird mime-looking gimmick he's running right now with the face paint. I don't know what that was all about.
I don't know if that was just a one-time thing. I don't know.
He has a habit of reinventing himself, so I wouldn't be surprised. Because he wore that makeup when he attacked him in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
He had that weird lipstick. I was like, what are you doing? Yeah, I still don't know what they're going to do with that in terms of when he's going to defend it again. But my guess is I feel like he does stuff quarterly with New Japan. I think he does something like every 3 or 4 months with them. So that's probably when you'll see it defended again.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's take a look here at the next New Japan event. Go ahead and talk because I don't want the screen to keep being on me.
I don't know. What do you want me to tell you?
All right, well, I'm looking at the pay-per-view events right now. I feel like I should know this stuff. Okay, so it doesn't tell me the next event that's coming up currently. After Dominion last year, it was War of Worlds, but that was a UK thing. And then after that, it was Global Wars. So, and then finally Power Struggle. So it doesn't tell me what's upcoming, but, I'm sure there's going to be something else this year.
Yeah, that's most likely when you'll see it again. I don't know if he's going to drop it again. I think he might run with it for a little bit because if you're New Japan, take the publicity. If you got a star like Jericho, and he's got that cruise coming up, what better way to have free promotion than having the belt on that cruise?
Right. And I don't know if you watch Being the Elite at all, but Jericho kind of showed up on there on one of their last episodes, and he teased kind of a partnership with the Young Bucks, possibly at his cruise. He's like, I don't think we could do this on land, and I don't think we could do this in space, so we'll have to see or something. Like it was teased some along the lines of that. So yeah.
All right. What else did you want to talk about that wasn't Money in the Bank?
The Corey Graves versus CM Punk. Did you read into any of that?
I read the tweets. I feel like it was really a dick move for Corey Graves to do that after Punk lost, like almost immediately after his fight. I don't know why Corey has such sour grapes, because knowing what happened to Trump, what the hell? What happened to Punk? Yeah, they're doing a lot of political stuff. Knowing what happened to Punk with all that stuff with WWE, I don't know how Corey could defend WWE and how they treated CM Punk versus Punk.
Here's my take on it. I don't think he was necessarily trying to defend WWE in any means. I'll just read over what the tweet said. His first tweet came. He actually didn't mention CM Punk for a while in his tweets, but everybody kind of assumed they were talking about him.
It's right after the fight, so
yeah, it was like maybe abandoning everybody who stood by you, even when we weren't supposed to. Only to have you turn your back on us wasn't the right move after all. No anger, only sadness. So that was the first tweet. And sure, at this point, a lot of people are like wondering what's going on. And then next tweet, seems the fans, and fans are in quotes, are disappointed. Maybe you guys should know that dude held my first son before I did, or because I was on tour and I trusted him. I had dinner with him the week after he quit. Third tweet, the first rule of punk rock is loyalty, and this guy betrayed it all. I still love you, friend, and I'm sorry you got lost. And then he said, don't worry, hey, Vince McMahon, this has nothing to do with you. You either, Triple H. This isn't corporate. This is real life. Calm down, enter nerds. And there's more. So it sounds like when I first read these tweets, it sounds like he's really upset that maybe CM Punk, betrayed him in some way.
I mean, he probably feels like he ghosted him or something, and he didn't. To me, he sounds. And he's not really like, I don't really think this of Corey Graves, but to me, he sounds like a weird, vindictive ex-girlfriend.
I've heard that analogy.
Where, like, he's just super, I don't understand where this is coming from. You know what I mean? Like, it just seems so out of left field, and the only reason he's mentioning it is because Punk was in the spotlight again for that fight, so he's like, well, I'm going to just let out my sour grapes on Twitter and just kind of unload on this guy. I don't know the full story. I don't know their personal lives, obviously. So I don't know who's in the right, who's in the wrong, whatever. But I feel like this is just unnecessary. And I mean, if it was really a big burden to him and he had to air his grievances, fine. But I think it was just really unprofessional.
I think going the Twitter route was, I do agree that was unprofessional, but I do kind of feel for Corey Graves here. There's an article that Fightful posted, and this is the quote he said. He's like, well, to be honest, I never heard from, let's see here. Well, to be honest, I've never heard or been given that ultimatum. Apparently he was given an ultimatum that CM Punk basically said, hey, you choose WWE or me. And then Graves said, it shocked me when I texted him about grabbing dinner because we were in Chicago and he told me he no longer had interest being friends with anybody or related to WWE. So that does sound very harsh. That he would just kind of cut everybody out just because of who signs their paychecks. But
yeah, and it sounds like Punk. Punk's kind of an asshole, so that sounds like something CM Punk would do.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I think we both agree. It's like I just don't agree with how he
aired his grievances.
Yeah, because when you put something out on Twitter like that, people are gonna misconstrue everything you say, and people are gonna have these weird conspiracy theories about. You know what I mean? Like, it can only end badly for you. I feel like if you air any sort of grievances like that on social media.
Mm-hmm. There's two final tweets from Corey Graves after this article was released, by the way. He said, "Don't forget, y'all, I actually knew how to fight before I got to TV." And then he said, "I'll fight him."
Okay. I think CM Punk himself is learning what happens when you have a real physical fight versus WWE.
Yeah, I mean, God bless him for giving it his best shot, but it's definitely a whole different ball game.
I think he should just quit after 2 fights. I hate to say that, but he needs to just not fight anymore. Do something that isn't physically demanding for you, man. Maybe go back to writing comics or doing something else. Because
I know he's done with wrestling. I mean, he's doing a signing with at the All In show, and everybody was speculating that he's gonna be at the show, but I highly doubt it. I mean, he does seem like he's done with wrestling in general. I mean, but who knows? I mean, if never say never in the world of wrestling.
Is there a Sean's View video on this?
Not that I know of. I haven't seen anything about from Sean's View.
Has he quit YouTube?
I don't think so.
Damn it! I got excited.
I mean, let's see. The one great thing I love about doing this live stream is I can have my computer up at the same time.
Yeah.
No, it looks like he's still doing stuff. He had a video out 4 days ago, and of course he's shooting his videos in a portrait because he's a professional YouTuber.
He's a real YouTuber.
So yeah, 4 days ago was the last time he posted a video, but he does have a CM Punk video out 6 days ago, and it's titled "CM Punk loses second UFC fight. CM Punk UFC 225 transported to hospital." So on the bright side,
that's actually factual.
Yeah. CM Punk video before that, WWE CM Punk on if he will sue WWE doctor to recover legal fees. Raw WWE breaking news. Probably also factual.
Well, that whole case is settled. There's nothing.
Yeah.
He's not having. There's no countersuit or anything. It's settled. He won. So I don't. I imagine winning that case meant that the doctor has to pay him so much money in damages or something. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. Did you see some of the stuff that came out from that case?
Yeah, it was incredible. My favorite thing from that case is what CM means in CM Punk.
Yeah.
Chick magnet.
Yeah, the fact that that's legally documented that we truly know what that means. I preferred Chicago made, but whatever.
I prefer Cookie Monster. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, and I don't want to say, like, this is, you want to, okay, play the Twilight Zone music, because this is going to be a real big conspiracy theory. You ready?
Okay.
I think the WWE doctor and the WWE pushed to have the date of that court date moved to that time, so then they could fuck with his training for UFC 225.
You and a lot of people.
I don't think it's true, but that's just how it worked out. Whatever, but
yeah, I thought it was going to be postponed until after the fight, but I guess it wasn't. But at least he was able to get the burden off his back before his fight, and he did go 3 rounds. So his opponent was kind of a jackass and wanted more TV time, but that's another story for another day.
He tickled him at one point. Did you see that?
Yeah, that was wow.
And Dana White said that he's never going to fight in the UFC again. Like, Dana White was super pissed about that.
Oh, his exact words were something along the lines of he's a fucking clown or something along those lines. And that he regrets not putting that on Fight Pass. And I don't think it's because of Punk. I think it was because of how Mike Jackson acted.
Yeah, it was definitely how Mike Jackson did it, because it comes off very disrespectful of their sport and UFC, and they're all about protecting their brand. And
you got somebody who's actually trying to, win a fight, and and you got Mike Jackson here. He's not even trying. So I mean, I guess that shows the lack of experience on Punk, which we all know that he has, he doesn't have that much experience in fighting. But
did you see that Daniel Bryan tweeted at like a Twitter beef between Daniel Bryan and Mike Jackson?
That was great.
And Mike Jackson said he would fight him.
Mm-hmm.
And he'd like beat him like he beat CM Punk, and I was like, again, I'd see that. I'd watch that.
I do think Daniel Bryan will have a better chance.
I think if Punk keeps fighting with the UFC, they have to not put him on pay-per-view. He is not the big draw that they thought he was going to be. I mean,
he's a draw in the fact of his name, but that's it. Just his name.
I mean, he was a draw when he first started for me, but after that first fight, seeing how he got brutalized, I mean, I thought that I never think that fighters can't come back from that, but it just keeps showing to me that this just isn't working out for him, and that's fine. And like I said, wrestling's probably done for him. I'm sure there's other career paths for him.
Oh,
maybe he could just go away and not be involved in the public at all for a long time.
One CM Punk question I've always wondered, though, and nobody's asked this. No journalist has asked him, because he's very willing to do interviews most of the time. Nobody's asked him, like, hey, if the I know you're done with wrestling, but if the opportunity ever came to take a Hall of Fame induction, would you take it? Nobody's asked him that. And I'm really curious to know the answer to that question.
I think he would say no.
I think he would say no, but I'm sure that time heals all wounds, and it'll turn out to be like what happened with Ultimate Warrior, Bret Hart, and whatnot. I mean, do I think he'll make any appearances outside of that? No, but I think he would eventually take a Hall of Fame induction. Like if he was offered it tomorrow, probably not. Offered it 10 years down the line, probably.
Maybe. All right. Let's get into predictions.
Oh yeah, let me pull up back here. I gotta go back to my Money in the Bank page because I was on the New Japan page. There we go. So this is just predictions. We're just kind of going to throw out some scenarios on how we think stuff's going to go down. This is not for this championship anymore. This championship was retired with me being your last champion. Sorry, Jake, your cash-in meant nothing.
Wow. Oh.
What'd you break?
Nothing important. All right. Let's see the card. What we got?
So it looks like they finally have a pre-show match. The Bludgeon Brothers, Harper and Rowan versus Gallows and Anderson. How do you think this match is going to go down?
What a waste of tag titles, huh?
Very. I would love to see Gallows and Anderson win this, but if it's on the pre-show,
yeah, it'll probably be a squash match. I think the Bludgeon Brothers will probably win in a squash.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's gonna. I mean, maybe not, I don't know. Maybe they'll get some offense in, but yeah, it's gonna be Bludgeon Brothers.
I don't understand the whole idea behind putting the belts on them because they have that they have like that thing where they just bulldoze through everybody at WrestleMania, and they haven't done anything with them since.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of been there.
Well, so Bludgeon Brothers, pretty unanimous there. Next match, we got Daniel Bryan versus Big Cass, the feud that nobody wants to see. I got Big Cass because I think they're gonna face off at Extreme Rules in the blow off.
What a waste!
A lot of these are wastes.
understand why they probably didn't have Daniel Bryan in the Money in the Bank match because I think they're still hesitant to put him in anything more than a singles match.
That's what I've heard.
And yeah, I think that Daniel Bryan wins. I think they end this feud here. Because I just don't see them going any further with it. Like, what's the big selling point of this feud? I'm Big Cass. I'm 7 foot tall. Daniel Bryan's small. I'm gonna kick a midget, and like it's just
trouble backstage.
Like, it's so annoying when we are in 2018. We can stop with the little people jokes, WWE. I don't know why you think it's the funniest thing on the planet to just have dwarf versions of characters and have them come out and have a guy beat them up. It's not funny. It's just sad. Okay? It's not funny. Daniel Bryan.
Well, it's funny when the midget actually, is able to fight back, but it's not funny when you just watch him get demolished.
The best thing they ever did with little people was the WLC match because it was the dumbest, most bizarre thing I've ever seen, and I was thoroughly entertained. That's one of those matches where people ask me, like, why do you like pro wrestling? I don't show them that because I'm like, this is a circus. This is a sideshow. We're just gonna forget about that. All right, what's next?
All right, so we would. By the way, what'd you say?
I said Daniel Bryan.
Okay. Hopefully, it will be Daniel Bryan, and they can just end this. But
exactly.
I think it's gonna be Big Cass. So the next two matches are both two feuds that I don't believe that nobody wants to see. Bobby Lashley versus Sami Zayn.
Yeah, this is a weird one.
I don't see it going any other way other than Bobby Lashley.
Yeah, they're gonna build him up. I don't know why Sami Zayn was their first choice for Bobby Lashley, like as a feud. I don't understand the motivation behind that.
Bobby Lashley, I feel like they've dropped the ball so bad on him. Like, he made an explosive return attacking Elias coming back, and then nothing. It's just like they're putting him in lower mid-card status. And like, Bobby Lashley was a huge draw. He came out of Impact Wrestling as one of their champions. And, and you're just throwing him down the card. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, I mean, before that, they were pushing him. WWE was pushing him like he was John Cena, or he was the top face in the company from like 06, 07. He was like their biggest draw.
Yeah, they wanted him. I think they did. We're going to put the WWE title on him, but I know Michael Hayes had his didn't really like him too much.
I mean, at that time, Bobby Lashley wasn't very good in the ring.
Not at all.
Now he's a lot better, but then they give him. And why does he wear a sweatband?
He's done that since I know, but he's done that. He did that in TNA.
I know, but it doesn't make any. I'm sorry. When bald people wear sweatbands, it throws me off because it's like you have no hair. I guess they can still try to keep the sweat out of their eyes, but it doesn't make any sense. But yeah, Bobby Lashley wins this one.
All right. Yeah, I got Bobby Lashley too. Next match, again, match nobody wants to see, and we've already seen.
Wait. Before that, did you see that weird obstacle course thing that Sami Zayn did?
Yeah.
What the hell was that?
I don't know.
All right, anyway.
Roman Reigns versus Jinder Mahal. Ugh.
What are they doing here with Jinder? Are they really? It's WWE's like tactic, like everybody hates Jinder so much that here's how we get Roman over again. We have Roman beat him. People like Roman again. Is that WWE's logic going into this match? I feel like that's the only reason they're together.
I don't know, but I do think that, Jinder has his fans. I mean, you named yourself after him for a while.
I like Jinder. I don't get why people hate Jinder so much, okay? I think it's booking is why people don't like Jinder, because
That's why they don't like a lot of people. I feel like Roman Reigns could get over if they knew how to book him.
Yeah, exactly. It's the tale of two guys. This is a matchup of two guys that were just booked improperly that everybody hates. And I have Roman winning.
So do I. Roman Reigns.
I think they've done a lot to make Jinder look strong in the past year, but yeah, Roman wins.
Man, to think he was just in a Universal title feud, and then he got decimated. And he could be Universal Champion right now. I mean, I'm not a big fan. I don't like Roman Reigns that much, but for the love of God, he would have made a better champion than Brock Lesnar is right now. But you know why they left the belt on Lesnar, right?
To beat Punk's reign.
Yep.
Because he just did a few days ago.
Yep. Everybody's like, oh well, Punk or Lesnar's the Universal Champion. Punk was WWE Champion. It doesn't matter because Lesnar can say that he is the longest reigning Universal Champion in the modern era.
Yeah. Well, and it's the thing; it's a fake sport, so they can write their own history.
Yep.
Yeah, they can make up their own fiction about this stuff. So they're gonna say that Brock is the longest reigning, and they're gonna use that moniker of World Champion, not WWE Champion, World Champion, because that's what they would do when they had the big gold belt. When they were like, how do we make up a thing where he's the longest reigning something? Well, we'll just call it a World Champion, you know.
Well, they did this before with Lesnar when Lesnar left the company the first time because he was the youngest WWE champion. So what do? They put it on Randy Orton when he was only 24.
And he won the world heavyweight title. He's like the youngest world champion. So it's like they're going to write their own history. There's a cat.
Yep, my girlfriend's cat. Her name's Jazzy.
Does she have a saxophone or...
Anyway, let's get to the next match here. So we got Seth Rollins versus Elias for the WWE Intercontinental Championship. Who do you got?
I'm gonna do a swerve here. I'm gonna say Elias upsets Seth Rollins.
I want that, and this is why, because you'll be able to tell what they're trying to go for in the next few months here. With that, or just kind of by where people fall. Now, if Rollins loses either tomorrow night or at Extreme Rules, you can bet that he'll probably be in the Universal title picture at SummerSlam, and that's who they should be putting up against Lesnar for the Universal title. Because I'm sorry, but WWE killed Roman Reigns. They killed him at WrestleMania. And the greatest Royal Rumble wasn't too much better either, especially because I don't know, but it was just awful booking.
I agree. Like if there was ever a time to finish that feud, it was be WrestleMania 34. I don't know where are you getting this information? Whose dirt sheet is telling you that they think Rollins is going to be next up?
I've just heard that I've actually heard that it's going to be Reigns, but I think Rollins, he's too good right now for them to ignore him. And I think that if he drops the IC title before SummerSlam, I do think they might put him in the feud with Brock Lesnar. It only makes sense because he's on fire.
Yeah. That's why I think that they might swerve it, is the idea of Seth's been so good lately, and they've actually been building him properly. They've done a lot and this is textbook WWE when Brock is involved with anything, where they know that Brock's not going to be on TV for a long time. They're just like, okay, so we're going to build up a mid-card champion to have people still want to watch TV and be incentivized, you know? So they're doing that with Seth right now, which I think would be an ultimate swerve troll job to be like, oh, Elias is your Intercontinental Champion. Now, would I see them pushing Seth to the main event again?
You gotta think though. He's a baby face now. I mean, the first time he was in the main event picture, he was a heel. So I think he would do much better as a babyface champion than he did as a heel champion. Though his heel run was good, I mean, in the sense of his character was great. His matches were lackluster.
Well, I don't know. They had a weird. I don't know. They were doing some weird stuff with him. I liked his heel run. I thought his heel run was great. I just think this is what they do. When they have somebody like Brock, or John Cena when Punk was champion, it seems like if they don't necessarily believe in the world champion, it kind of feels second tier. Mm-hmm. And I think they did that a little bit with Seth because he has that great moment in WrestleMania, has some really good title matches. Like that Royal Rumble match with Brock, Cena, and Seth was like 3 years ago. That match was absolutely phenomenal. And you know what it was? It was Seth doing a lot of the work. Seth and Cena doing a lot of the work.
Yep.
So would I like to see him get a proper Universal run? If anybody deserves a proper Universal run, it'd be Finn Balor. So if you're going to go if you go with your storyline, you could reignite this never-ending feud of Finn Balor and Seth Rollins and say Finn Balor cashes in on Seth after he beats Brock, something like that. Maybe, but we'll get to Money in the Bank.
Mm-hmm. So, but I do say Elias because I really think that it's Rollins' time to move back to the main event. Next match, we got the SmackDown Live Women's Championship on the line. It is Carmella, the champion, versus Asuka, the Empress of Tomorrow. This is so interesting. More interesting than it was 2 weeks ago, but because of who might be at Money in the Bank. Jake, you know what I'm talking about?
No, what's the rumor?
The rumor is that there will be a returning superstar coming back at Money in the Bank.
Who do you
think? I use superstar lightly. Very lightly. I mean, because I feel like he's more of a woman. He fits more in the women's division.
Oh my God! Are you talking about James Ellsworth?
I am talking about James Ellsworth. The rumor is that he's going to be returning on Sunday.
No, that's stupid. No, stop it. We didn't like Carm Ellsworth in the first place. We don't like it now, especially now. They've done so much to make Carmella a good heel and a credible heel that it's like, come on, don't go in the past. She's fine without him. I think that Asuka wins, but she doesn't win the title. I think Carmella gets a DQ or a count or something, but I think Asuka's going to win, and I think Carmella is going to get disqualified so they can keep the feud going.
With that James Ellsworth rumor, and this is why there's some credibility to it. He was originally going to defend his intergender championship at in some Chinese promotion, but then they announced it on their. But then the rumors started coming out that he was going to be at WWE. He tried to deny it, saying that he was already booked, and then the Chinese promotion said, "Oh nope, he's not going to be there." So that's why I do think he's going to be there, and I do think he's going to cost Asuka the SmackDown Women's title, and I think Carmella is going to win. I know you're upset, Jake.
Yeah, whatever.
Well, let's get to the women's match that actually is probably the most interesting match on the card. We got the Raw Women's Championship. We got Nia Jax, the champion, facing Ronda Rousey in her first singles match. And this one's also I've heard many scenarios on how this one could go down as well. Who do you got for this match?
Oh man, I don't know.
She was actually really good at WrestleMania, I thought. And that was easily the best match on the WrestleMania card.
Yeah, I don't think that Ronda's bad in the ring. I thought she was great, but I just don't care about this feud.
Is it too much too soon, too, you think?
Yeah, I think it is. I think I get what they're trying to do, but man, are they really just doing female Brock Lesnar? That's really all they're doing here. And it works for Ronda. She could fit that bill, and I think that works. But I don't know if you shoot her straight to a title yet. I thought that they could do something, maybe a separate feud at first, get her used to singles. I don't know. That sounds weird.
I think they're originally going to do that, but then this is what I heard. I know we heard a lot of stuff, but they didn't want to put her in the Money in the Bank ladder match because they didn't want her to win that, and then they didn't want to leave her off of another pay-per-view. So it was like, hey, we need to book her here.
No,
what do we do?
And from a booking standpoint, it makes sense. I totally get why they're doing it. Strike while the iron's hot. She's still very popular. Keep the momentum running and keep that moment, keep the Raw's women division relevant. But what's the storyline here? You know what I mean? Like, now all of a sudden, this is what I hate about WWE's storylines, because this is what happens when you don't have a break. Your characters start just becoming contradictions of themselves. Mm-hmm. Because remember, the whole Alexa Nia storyline was anti-bullying, and now Nia is a bully. Like, what? You know what I mean? Maybe if you had like this weird fantasy, like mystical aspect of it, it's the title. It makes the women go crazy. I don't know, but
that'd be pretty good. You should write for WWE.
That's what I'm saying. Hire me. I think Ronda wins.
Yeah, I think Ronda wins too. I don't know if she'll be walking out of Money in the Bank as Raw Women's Champion though I do think she'll pick up the win and the title for that.
You think someone's gonna cash in that depends on the placing of the matches, but do you think someone's gonna win and then cash in on her?
I do.
Huh. That's interesting.
And I'll get to that very shortly.
All right.
But the next match is AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura in a last man standing match for the WWE Championship. Will this be Nakamura's time, or will Styles finally end this never-ending feud?
Well, it's got to be Nakamura. I think Nakamura keeps this feud going.
Yeah, I do.
I think they ride this out until SummerSlam.
I could definitely see that. I do think Nakamura is going to take the win. And yeah, keep it going until SummerSlam, and then maybe Styles will recapture it at SummerSlam, and then Mr. Money in the Bank, whoever that is, might cash in at SummerSlam.
That's the problem, is they ran this. This was SmackDown's big feud, and they kind of just ran it into the ground.
And the problem is that any Styles match is great, but his matches with Nakamura were very underwhelming compared to what we know that they can both deliver.
Just give us Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles. No,
Daniel Bryan versus The Miz.
To me, I think it should be Daniel Bryan versus The Miz. That has to be your WrestleMania payoff. Put the belt on The Miz, or better yet, put the belt on Daniel Bryan and have him lose to The Miz at WrestleMania. That would be awesome. Awesome. But yeah, I think we're going to be pretty I think we're going to have the same picks, unless the only difference is going to be the ladder match, because these singles matches, they're so predictable. Granted, I picked Ronda, but I could totally see Nia winning too. That's the only I think one that was I could see either one. But Nakamura and AJ, they're gonna run this thing through SummerSlam, and the payoff is gonna be AJ. And I like heel Shinsuke. I love the fact that his whole thing is he just punches people in the nuts. That's funny.
He doesn't speak English.
That's funny to me. I like it.
It is. So yeah, we both got Nakamura. hopefully this time he'll actually win the WWE Championship because, I mean, I love Styles. I have almost all of his T-shirts from WWE anyway. But it's Nakamura's time. It'd be nice to have a Japanese-born WWE champion.
Right.
All right, the next match, we'll do the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. We have Ember Moon versus Charlotte Flair versus Alexa Bliss versus Becky Lynch versus Natalya versus Lana versus Naomi versus Sasha Banks. Whew. 4 from Raw, 4 from SmackDown.
Also, I love that the WWE finally woke up and was just like, hey, we should just make this, both brands, and then the winner picks whoever's title they want to go out to. They should have had that last time, right? That should have been the thing in the first place.
Right.
Man,
I still think Carmella should have went to Raw and cashed in on Nia Jax at WrestleMania.
This one, like I said, the ladder matches are going to be the hard ones to predict. Honestly, it's got to happen at some point. I keep picking here at some point. It's got to happen. I think Becky Lynch is going to win.
You picked her last year too, I believe.
Yeah, I did. It's going to happen.
I got Natalya.
Again, we both picked 2 superstars that need it.
Well, here's the thing. Natalya has already got a kind of something going on with Ronda Rousey, and this is why I think there's going to be a cash in later on the night. Ronda Rousey is going to win the women's title, and then Natalya is going to come out maybe after Nia Jax beats the crap out of her after she loses or something. Maybe Nia will be a sore loser or something. Right. Then Natalya will come out, check on her friend, and then cash in.
That makes sense. So that's not going to happen.
But I mean, I think they do want Natalya to be Ronda Rousey's first official feud. So who knows?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I got Natalya.
I can see that. I think that makes a lot of sense. The Becky Lynch angle.
I do want Becky. Let me clarify that. I want Becky. She needs it. She hasn't had a storyline in over 18 months, but it's probably going to be Natalya.
Yeah, probably. Here's the thing with Becky. I think you could set up a storyline with her, Carmella, and Charlotte. Some way Charlotte's be like, hey, we're friends, maybe. I don't know. Some sort of angle. I could give you my first title match or something like that. But I'm really just saying Becky because Becky needs it. I don't have like a good storyline set up. I just think.
But that's the great thing about Money in the Bank is that it's normally, sometimes they have a storyline in mind, but normally they just give it to somebody who they have big plans for, but they don't know what those plans are.
Mm-hmm.
So. So you got Becky, I got Natalya. Our very last match, Money in the Bank men's ladder match for a world championship contract. We have the Monster Among Men, Braun Strowman. We have the Demon, Finn Balor. We have the Awesome One, The Miz. We have Rusev from Rusev Day. We have the glorious, not so glorious Bobby Roode.
What happened to him, man?
I don't know. He's terrible. He needs to turn heel. We have Kevin Owens. We have the Destroyer, Samoa Joe. And then we have one of the members of the New Day. Speaking of which, before we get on to our prediction for this match, who's going to be the one to choose from the New Day? Everybody seems to think it's going to be Big E. But is it?
It's got to be Kofi because you got to have – look at the lineup. You got Samoa Joe – you got Finn Balor, The Miz,
Braun Strowman.
I mean, you're gonna need Kofi in there because you need spot guys.
Mm-hmm.
So you got Finn's your spot guy. The Miz is not a spot guy. He'll take a bump, but he's not gonna be jumping off ladders and doing all the crazy stuff.
Right.
So I think you need somebody like Kofi because Xavier Woods isn't like that either. So,
I could see them putting Xavier Woods in there just because it would be a huge swerve. Everybody thinks that it's going to be Big E. Kofi would be a logical choice because he's been in these matches, but nobody's saying Xavier Woods.
Oh, goodness. I got to go with, let's see here. What would you're probably going to pick Finn Balor because you're wearing his shirt. It can't be Braun. It cannot be Braun.
He's too good. He doesn't need it. That's basically like, that'd be basically like giving the WWE title to Brock Lesnar.
I gotta go. I'm gonna say Samoa Joe.
I think Samoa Joe would be an incredible pick, and I would love to see Finn Balor win the Money in the Bank ladder match. I really would. He needs it. He deserves. He deserves it. But it's not going to be Finn Balor. It's not. It's going to be The Miz. The Miz. Here's the thing. He made the Intercontinental title so relevant. I mean, like I can't. Up until him being drafted to SmackDown, I couldn't picture the IC title being on anybody else's shoulders. So I feel like he can make championships relevant. And if he were to win the Money in the Bank briefcase and actually have a proper WWE championship run, unlike his lackluster one that he had last time, I think it would be, no pun intended, awesome.
I could see the reason why I think Samoa Joe would do it because I think Samoa Joe would be the guy that would cash in at the last man standing match.
I don't think it. I mean, like,
no, they'll probably have this match last like they did last year. But
but to your point, I don't see it happening at the last man standing match. But I could see like if Samoa Joe did win it, like take my thing, Styles gets the title back at SummerSlam, and then Joe cashes in right after. I could see that happening, but I really want it to be The Miz. I really think it needs to be The Miz. I mean, like I said, I'd rather have Balor, but I think it's going to be The Miz. I don't see it. I mean, with Lesnar being out and probably not going to be there until SummerSlam, I mean, having the Money in the Bank briefcase on Raw doesn't make any logical sense. It really doesn't, especially when your champion's only going to show up probably 3 more times for the company, right? Maybe even 2.
Yeah, that's why I think Money in the Bank has to go to SmackDown because they actually have a champion that's on their show. Yeah, and the reason I would pick Samoa Joe is because it's a left field choice. I think a lot of people don't see that. I think a lot of people think what you think and give it to The Miz, but I think they've got to do something and give Joe something. Give him a championship already.
But here's the thing, and
he's injury prone.
Well, no, it's not that. I'll make the same argument for why I don't think Kevin Owens should get the briefcase. They're both so good in their roles. They're both dominating figures. But that's the thing. They're so good that they're going to be in that main event feud regardless eventually.
Okay, but you wouldn't think that of The Miz?
I think he's good, but I also think that most people see him as kind of like the kind of similar to a Dolph Ziggler kind of thing. Not necessarily as bad as Ziggler, but like where he's kind of, in the mid card. And that's his thing, where he's like the king of the mid card. But this will give him that leverage to finally break back out in the main event scene where he belongs.
Okay, I could see that, but I disagree. It's gonna be Joe.
I would love to see Joe. I'm not denying. I would like to see Balor, Miz, Rusev, Owens, Joe, or hell, even one of the members of the New Day. The only ones that I really don't want to see the briefcase on is Strowman and Rude, because again, Rude is just he's not glorious.
They could give something with they could do something with him though. Like this could be their way in.
True,
but it won't work out that way.
If he was still on SmackDown.
Yeah. exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, that's 10 matches. They're gonna all the pay-per-views from here on are gonna be 4-hour shows. So it's like basically it's like, are we gonna go with 4-hour shows, once a month, or are we gonna go with 3-hour shows once every 2 weeks? It feels like it's like one or the other. Either way, they're gonna be pushing the wrestling content down our throats and giving us a lot of crappy matches like Roman Reigns versus Jinder and Daniel Bryan versus Big Cass.
I'm okay with 4 hours a month. That's fine.
Yeah.
If it's only going to be once, because I've been a firm believer in one pay-per-view a month. So I'm okay with that. If that means you have to give 2 hours to each show kind of thing with 4 hours, fine. But there's too much wrestling.
I just wish they could book it better. I mean, the Money in the Bank ladder matches look really good. And like I said, I am intrigued to see Elias versus Rollins and Styles versus Nakamura if they do it right this time. And I'm really intrigued to see Nia Jax versus Ronda Rousey. But why are you bogging down the card with Reigns versus Mahal, Lashley versus Zayn, and Bryan versus Cass? And why do you have your tag team champions on the pre-show, especially when Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, I feel like deserve to be champions? Like, how awesome would it be to put the champions on Gallows and Anderson while Styles is WWE champion?
Yeah.
Like,
well,
great.
Why Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy not on the card?
Yeah, that's another thing I was going to mention. Why isn't Jeff Hardy on the card? He's the U.S. champion.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me either.
This is a very Raw heavy card, and
that's the thing. If you're going to make them mixed brands, if you want to have more Raw on the card, just make a Raw pay-per-view. But again, it's that whole idea of they don't want to have the two pay-per-views, but I think you have to split it up evenly and saying this show gets 2 hours, this show gets 2 hours, kind of thing. I
mean, here's the thing though. I mean, you have 9 champions, and it's like there isn't any talk of, what they're doing with the other ones. You have one championship that is, gone. No, I mean, you might as well just put it on a milk cart and said, "Have you seen the Universal title?" You have the Cruiserweight Championship, which is like, the Cruiserweight division has, it's been built up ever since Triple H took over, and that can't even have a spot on the card. You have, the Raw Tag Team Champions, which, to be honest, I honestly think that Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt are a much more entertaining team than the Bludgeon Brothers, in my opinion. And then you have Jeff Hardy, who, he's huge. I mean, if you give that guy a push, he's one of the guys that everybody universally loves. So it's like, why aren't any of these guys featured on the card? It doesn't make sense to me.
Well, it's just that it's one of those things. It's a gimmick pay-per-view. It's always been a gimmick pay-per-view. So why not have your favorite gimmicks on the, when it comes to characters? They just want to push the ladder matches. That's all they care about with Money in the Bank is the 2 ladder matches, which is fine. Just make it an hour-long show and make it a special on the network.
Yeah, like King of the Ring. When they pull that out every 3 years.
Make it an hour long. Make it say hour and a half, 2 hours. So you give each match like 40-some minutes, which is plenty of time for a ladder match.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's my rant on that. I mean, NXT takeovers tonight, by the way. Hope you guys enjoy that. I know we're gonna have Aleister Black versus Lars Sullivan. Tommaso Ciampa versus Johnny Gargano, the sequel, in a Chicago street fight, by the way. You have Aleister Black. You have the Velveteen Dream versus Ricochet.
That was really cool.
That's gonna be a great match.
When Velveteen Dream's like, anything you can do, I could do better, and then he just like does the flip over the ring, and is like, prove it. And I was like, that's pretty cool. That was cool.
And then you got Shayna Baszler, the NXT Women's Champion, defending her title against Nikki Cross. So if you guys are watching NXT Takeover tonight, hope you guys enjoy that. It's going to be a great show like always. Sadly, you won't hear the voice of Mauro Ranallo because I think he's missing this one for some reason.
Yeah, probably personal, like probably a death or something, family issues.
I don't know. I haven't looked into it, to be honest. I hope it's not though. Death.
No, but
yeah.
Yeah, that's. I was speaking of Velveteen Dream. I was thinking about that. I can't wait for him to go to the main roster and they just butcher that character.
I really hope they don't.
Because he's got one of those characters that's really fun and unique and different, and you know that they will just screw it up in the main roster.
Put him in a feud with Goldust. Do it, WWE.
Dude, come on. Velvet Gold. Make him a team.
There you go. So you want to do this next week, Lumberjake?
I'm trying to think of what my schedule looks like, but I'll try and do this more. Try and do this every week.
Keep it simple. Just me and you, like it was supposed to be. Before we brought in, Healy and Bow and Arrow and El Marco Loco.
We gotta have a brand split. And by brand split, it's just us because nobody else is gonna do it. But
we will all be at minus obviously Bow and Arrow. He's long gone, but we will all be at the SmackDown live show right here in Omaha on July 3rd. Lumberjake will be traveling 3 hours to come back from Des Moines to Omaha.
It's only 2, actually.
Oh, 2? Okay.
Yeah. If I speed, it's a lot less. But
so that's going to be fun. I mean, of course, we're getting SmackDown, which is, the more fun of the shows. Plus, you add in 205 Live in there and, day before the 4th of July. So do you think they'll have pyro?
Yeah, you would think. You would think, the one day that they should have pyro.
Right.
Yeah, stay tuned. We might do a reaction. No, not react. Well, we might do a little video afterwards. We'll see.
What I would like to do, and I think I messaged you.
It depends on how drunk I'll be. That's what really matters.
Right. Well, what I really want to do, if we can get together sometime next week, is I would love to. A while ago, I messaged you. I don't know if you ever got back to me. I would really want to talk about who we think are going to be each champions going into WrestleMania next year. I think that'd be a great topic to talk about.
Yeah, I have no idea.
9 champions.
It's gonna be Brock Lesnar. It's always Brock.
Help us. God, he'll be pushing on 600, 700 days by then, if he's still champion.
Yeah. Ugh.
With probably only another 2 or 3 defenses under his belt.
Well, this is fun, man. I haven't done this in a long time.
Right, I agree. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I mean, I haven't seen any viewers, but come back and it's going to be on YouTube forever. So
yeah,
they're waiting and watch it.
They're waiting for the VOD, man.
Right.
If you like, I can put it up on Guerrilla Media Network.
Go for it.
Put it up there,
along with your political shows and sports shows and
just a smorgasbord of content. GuerrillaMedia.podbean.com.
With that said, I'm your final GSW champion. I'll drop this for now. I mean, we're not doing this gimmick anymore. As fun as it was.
Says you, man.
But hope you have fun. Hey, Jake, remember this?
Those were the days.
Right. I hope you have fun watching this pay-per-view, watching NXT TakeOver, and we will be back very soon. My name is Crawdaddy. See you next time.
Take it easy, guys.